You've been very close to his teachings. Feels weird saying that. Yeah. And I wanted to ask you about the training that he offers men.
Basically, what we uncover is, and this is mainly through interviews with two women who allege that they were groomed by members of the War Room, and also from internal messages that were leaked to us from within the War Room by a whistleblower. And what we uncovered was that there appears to be a kind of systematic method for grooming women, specifically into online sex work, that involves what they see as a kind of Pavlovian conditioning, which is how you train dogs. And again, not all war members will abide by these teachings, but some will. And also sometimes they also brag about when it's successful. You know, they will send pictures back to the War Room called receipts of the woman that they're targeting with their initials tattooed on her body as proof, you know, that they've implemented these methods successfully. Also, I've seen messages where they talk about punishments they've meted out on women. One man spoke about hitting one of these women over the head with a keyboard for refusing to work hard on her online webcam business. So, you know, there are at least some examples of violence, physical violence. And also I've seen them encourage men to kind of isolate these women from their families. So when you look at that picture together, then yes, what we're talking about is an ideology that to some degree could be described as enslavement. Yeah. And that again, that is a term also that is used by Iggy Semmelweis, female sexual slavery.
And so they call it the lover boy method, where they sort of pretend that they're romantically interested in these women, and then they start coercing them into webcam sex work. Yes. And then basically taking their sometimes 100%.
Sometimes 100% of the money, sometimes 80%, sometimes 50%. But the lover boy method is mentioned by a lot of police forces, especially in Europe, who are trying to combat human trafficking. It is, as you said, when someone portrays himself as romantically interested in a woman, and then their intention all along is to manipulate them into sex work. Now, you have to imagine, like, you're dating a guy and you think he's in love with you, and then gradually over the course of, who knows, months, years, he begins to do weirder things, like kind of reward your good behavior with attention and sex, and kind of punish your quote bad behavior with ignoring you and stuff. And then you don't know this whole time he's sending pictures of you, talking about you to this group of men who are actually instructing him how to coerce you into eventually doing webcam sex work. I mean, that's horrifying. It's like a kind of manual on coercive control.
Yeah, and even just behaving in that way, like punishing certain behavior, whatever, like that is the basis of domestic violence. And so even if they're not turning these women into a revenue stream, that normalizing that kind of treatment of another person in a relationship, that is normalizing domestic violence. And a number of domestic violence charities have raised the alarm on this. I just want to leave you with one question. Are you closing your chapter on Andrew Tate?
Actually, I said that this new documentary, we released it because the first one didn't scratch the surface. Actually, the second one also doesn't scratch the surface.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I think there will be more to come.
The biggest thing that I take away from this, the second documentary particularly, you're watching video of a guy basically boasting about committing the crimes he's accused of. That's how it looked to me, right?
It's important to remember that Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate deny all these charges against them and would say that they are innocent. I think it's likely that some of the things they said in their courses and in their social media content will show up in the investigation alongside intercepted audio conversations and other forms of evidence, allegations from women and so forth. Well, all I'm focused on is I would never go beyond the facts. Is just, my job is to find evidence and report on it. And I think if I have one concern, it's that no matter what we report on and how much reporting we do, and no matter what charges may or may not be filed against him, because of this army of followers and supporters, because of this marketing team trying to discredit every opinion that's mentioned against him, who knows if people will listen? Who knows if people will believe anything we say? And to some degree, what's the point of journalism for that group who are the target of Andrew Tate if they don't believe you?
Hearing you talk there like that, I think you sort of hit the nail on something that like is a growing concern. I think for a lot of us, like, you know, we look to law, we look to media, we look to education as how we shape society. But, you know, social media, the global world of the lawless internet, how do you manage that? But I think fundamentally, as you pointed out, a lot of these Andrew Tate followers, you can talk to them. You chatted to those bouncers in Glastonbury, and maybe the more we know about it, we can talk to our nephews, our sons or whatever. And perhaps that's the only way.